Good morning and welcome back to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Colvig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group. On with Kyle Thomas, our certified financial planner, one of the certified financial players on the investment team. Again, thanks for listening. Feel free to give us a call, 612-504-8400 or havenfinancialgroup.com. Kim, I just want to go back to that briefly to that last segment. If you were listening and you heard the word annuity and you're confused, like 75% of the folks that have annuities, and I'm not joking, it's that high, feel free to come on in, and we call it an annuity exam. An annuity exam, there's no cost for it. We sit down, we'll dissect whatever kind of annuity you have. You'll leave knowing, oh, I do have this one. I like that one. I don't like it for whatever reason. And at the end of the day, you'll know exactly how it works. It's called an annuity exam. Bring it on in. And again, we'd love to chat more with you about that.
612-504-8400. That's how you go about doing that. We've been talking about Social Security and how important it is to so many people's lives. And we've talked briefly with both Kyle and Larry about the future of Social Security, both of whom believe that Social Security is not going anywhere. We may see reform, we may see some changes, but Social Security will be a part of our lives for a long time. Let's look back, though, a little bit and talk about the history of Social Security, because I think it's really important that people understand why it was formed to begin with. It was not necessarily meant for people to live on as their income in retirement. Correct, gentlemen?
Yes, correct. It was meant to be a supplement to retirement for folks. And when it first came into effect, the average life expectancy was probably just a couple of years after when you would first start receiving your Social Security. So when it first came out, the government was expecting maybe, 4 or 5 years or so of actual payments. Now medicine kept getting better. People started making better decisions, and they started living longer. So now that Social Security payment has to catch up to people living longer, and the funding needs to change. And actually, there's many civilizations who have used a form of welfare like Social Security, like we have right now. And ancient Greeks used it with olive oil. Romans used it with an early type of annuity, actually. So we're not the first ones to be doing that. Colonial America had poverty relief measures, and then Civil War pensions. That was actually kind of like the first formulation of the Social Security program that we see here today. On paper, this is a great idea, but then there's questions that go into it of like, well, how do we fund this, and where does it come from? And that's where it becomes a difficult topic of debate, right? Because people don't want to pay for something that they don't see for many years, and cut down their own paychecks. So that's where it just becomes a little more difficult. But there's definitely a deep history of Social Security, and it's something that, again, we don't see going away here.
Yeah. I guess I've just always, certainly when I was younger and I'd get my paycheck and there'd be a big chunk of money that was gone, that had gone into Social Security, I just assumed, well, I'm paying for myself. But that's not necessarily the case.
No, it's not. So you're actually paying 6.2% for Social Security yourself, but then employers also pay another 6.2%. So, there's the Social Security tax, there's Medicare tax, that's part of that FICA piece that you see on your income paychecks. And so you're paying a big chunk, and your employer's also paying a big chunk. And if you add that up, that ends up being, a big payment into the system that you're not getting right now. You're delaying that. And, I also like to think of it as, my employer is funding some of that as well, too. So that's kind of a benefit that people forget, because that is a big expense for employers.
Sure, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit, guys, about Social Security and drawing. We've talked about this before, but you can certainly start to draw your Social Security at 62, but drawing at 62 is not always advised if that's not absolutely imperative for people. Holding off a bit sometimes is a better idea.
circumstances obviously come up in life. I get it. But yes, the earliest you can draw is 62. Almost 70% of Americans turn it on right at 62, which is amazing to me. And that tells me there's a lack of education. For some, that might be appropriate if they need the money or if there's not a good lifespan in their family. Perhaps that would be a good reason, or a variety of others. The latest you're going to take it is 70. Only 1 to 2% of Americans wait till 70. Our job is never to steer people to wait till 70. It might be the right decision, wrong decision, based upon if you're still working, married, spouse working. There's a lot of variables that should go into when you turn on Social Security. It shouldn't be, well, I just thought everybody turned it on at 62. In my class, I cite a variety of studies which just came out. The average American, by claiming at the suboptimal time, will give up in a normal life expectancy about $182,000 of Social Security benefits. If I offered to put $182,000 in your IRA, I think the no-brainer answer would be, of course, please do. But by making the wrong decision on Social Security, they give up the average $182,000. Social Security is a big part of people's income, often taken lightly, oftentimes bigger than their portfolio all put together. And for a married couple, and I put this illustration in my class, the average American couple, normal life expectancy, and I know life isn't necessarily normal, will almost make about almost $1 million off of Social Security. See, that's a big part of the portfolio. So when Kyle and you were talking about Social Security was never designed to be a 10, 20, 30-year income stream. Thankfully, through medical advancements and doctoring, it has been. It was designed to be maybe a 1 year, 2 window of collecting. And many people never got to Social Security age, but over time, it's just what's transpired. It's an outdated system. It needs to be fixed. There are things that need to be fixed, but doing away with, absolutely not. It'd be a calamity. Change, it has to. My opinion, I think many Americans have become too reliant on it or dependent on it. And I'm not speaking to the person or the listener that has had, life's challenges, because life happens and life doesn't cooperate with our calendar. And I know circumstances do come up, but I think it's given some Americans a comfort level, and therefore they've done a poor job of saving on their own, when really Social Security was just supposed to be a supplement. And for many Americans, they rely solely on Social Security, which is scary, because I don't think I and any other listeners want to live just on Social Security. I'm not so sure that would be the golden years that we were looking for.
Sure, absolutely. Now, if someone comes in, sits down with you, says, I'm 60 years old and I'm trying to decide if I want to draw at 62 or if I should wait, tell me the steps that you might walk through with a couple, for example, and what you can actually tell. I mean, you guys can actually predict out what waiting might mean for a couple.
Yeah, we do have the benefit, calculations on waiting. So we're able to incorporate that into our planning software that we use. So we're able to use that plus a projected cost of living adjustment that gets attributed each year as well. So then we're able to analyze what our total lifetime payments are. Again, we're planning to the mid 90s here. So we want to make sure that we have longevity planning, that we don't run out of money, because that's a huge risk there too if we're planning to those mid 90s. So that all gets played into it. And there's different strategies of one spouse starting and then one spouse waiting, because remember, if one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse gets the higher benefit of the two. Mm-hmm. So we run all of this through our calculations, and we can run our income analysis and see where we may have gaps. And maybe we try to eliminate or minimize our portfolio withdrawals and keep our withdrawal rate, under 4% for sustainability purposes, and find that sweet spot of when we start Social Security for each spouse. But yeah, we do that by looking specifically at our income analysis page, and it's really a good tool for us to visualize and for the clients to visualize it and see different scenarios and outcomes for that.
Well, there's no doubt that Social Security is a portion of the fabric of a good retirement. And if you have questions about Social Security, you're wondering maybe when you should start to draw, what the difference might be waiting a year, 2, 3 years, then you should stop in and chat with the folks here at Haven Financial Group. You need to make an appointment. Let me give you the number. It's 612 504 8400. Again, that's 612 504 8400. Again, tell them that you heard us here on the radio and you'd like to come in for some information about Social Security. Larry is certainly an advocate for education. We talked about education for annuities, education for Social Security, equally as important. So be sure that you call them at 612 504 8400 or check out their website, havenfinancialgroup.com. Coming up, we're going to talk about mistakes that you want to avoid as you transition into those golden years, right here on the Haven Financial Group Radio Show.